Well, it has been a long road for women's reservation in legislatures. As this bill is set to be passed in the Lok Sabha, it has been introduced in the Lok Sabha today. Let's take a look at how it has been stuck for the last 27 years. This bill that seeks to give 1/3 reservation for women in the Lok Sabha, in the state assemblies across all states, and in the assembly of the National Capital Territory of Delhi. This bill has been pending for the last 27 years. It dates back to 1966. Let's go back to 1966 when this bill was first introduced in the parliament by the Deve Gowda government. Now, after the parliament, then in 1988, the Vajpayee government also reintroduced the bill in the Lok Sabha. And in 1999, again, the NDA government reintroduced the bill in the Lok Sabha. But every time after the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, the bill would lapse. Then in 2002, again, the bill was introduced, but it failed to sail through. In 2003, the bill was introduced twice. But as I said, every time the bill was introduced, when the dissolution of the Lok Sabha happened, then the bill would lapse and it had to be reintroduced again. You'll be surprised to know that it has been introduced 5 times in the parliament before this occasion when it has been introduced, and when it is set to be passed, in all likelihood it will be passed in the Lok Sabha. Then in 2008, the UPA government tabled the bill in the Rajya Sabha, and 2010 was rather historic as the bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha under the UPA government. It was a historic moment. The BJP, the left, the JDU all supported the bill, and it was passed in the Rajya Sabha back in the year 2010. So this is not the first time it will be passed. It has been passed by one house, the upper house, in 2010, but now it has been reintroduced in the Lok Sabha. In 2023, on September 19th, is when this new women's reservation bill has been tabled in the Lok Sabha, and this time it's called the Nari Shakti Vandan Bill. But why do we really need reservation for women? Because currently the representation of women in our legislature is rather abysmally low. In the Lok Sabha, the women representation stands at just around 15%, while in the Rajya Sabha, it's just around 13%. So women, which make up around 50% of the country's population, make up about just 15% of our primary law-making authority, the law-making house, that's the Lok Sabha. Let's also take a look at how the situation stands in several states. In states also, the picture is rather bad. Several states, you might be surprised to know, have a representation of women that is less than 10% in state assemblies. These states are Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Goa, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Odisha, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Puducherry. All these states have less than 10% representation of women. Let's take a look at states that have a representation from 10 to 12%. These are Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, and the national capital city of Delhi. Now, the states that are comparatively the best, but of course they're not in a comfortable position, they have a representation of over 12%, which is still bad, but better than other states. In Chhattisgarh, the representation is at 14.4%. In West Bengal, it's at 13.7%, while in Jharkhand, it's at 12.3%, as you can see in the map that we are showing you. So clearly, the representation for women in India's legislatures, not just in the Lok Sabha, but also in state assemblies, is extremely low. And if we take a world comparison, then we really stand among the lowest. India has been ranked at 141 among 185 countries that have been analyzed by the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Let's take a look at where India stands compared to other countries. Well, the world average for women's representation in the lower house is 26.7%. For India, it's just at 15%. For Pakistan, it's at 20% with reservation, of course. For Bangladesh, it's at 21% with reservation again. For Nepal, it is at 33% again with reservation. For the United Arab Emirates, it's at 50%. So women have an equal representation. Turkey is at 20%, Australia at 38%. New Zealand is rather good on this front with an equal representation of 50%. South Africa at 45%. Rwanda ranks #1 with the maximum representation at 61%. US is at 29%, while the United Kingdom is at 35%, according to the Inter-Parliamentary Union. So clearly, this ranking shows you how India fares comparatively low on women's representation in legislatures. And if we take a look at a comparison with other industries, while in lawmaking roles in the Lok Sabha, clearly women's representation is low, let's take a look at how the situation is in other industries. While in the Lok Sabha it's at 15%, as we mentioned, the participation of women in the IT industry is at 30%. In the financial services industry, it's at 22.4%. While these are the industries that have the highest representation of women in the country, two other industries, industrial companies and FMCG, have the lowest. In industrial companies, women's representation is at a really low level of 4.3%, while in the FMCG industry, it's at 5.5%, according to a report released by the CFA Institute in the month of March 2023. But the call has been growing for reservation for women in legislatures, considering that they make up 50%, close to 50%, close to half of the country's population. They're skilled, they're educated, and still they don't make it to these powerful roles, to these decision-making roles. In fact, there's enough and more to tell you how women are equally equipped, equally qualified, and academically strong as well to make it to these roles. One example is the CBSE Class 12th exam results. And the CBSE Class 12th pass percentage is considerably higher for girls as compared to boys. Girls clearly outperforming boys in academics as well. The pass percentage this year for CBSE Class 12th examinations for girls was at 90.7%, which is 6 percentage points higher than the percentage for boys, which is at 84.7%. So this makes the argument clear that women are equally equipped, if not more. Women are performing better in academics and several other areas as well, equally in comparison with men, and in better than men also in some categories. So still they are not making it to these important decision-making roles, and that's why such a reservation is needed. That's why the call has been going on for the last few decades, and finally it is set to be passed in the Lok Sabha, but it will still take many years for reservation to be a reality due to several procedures. So we could only see it becoming a reality by the next elections in 2029.